everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming for Thursday!
We don't do anything on Thursday.
Oh, sorry.
Microtransaction Thursday! Hey! Okay, let's start the day talking about the latest Epic Game Store exclusive. People love that store.
You talking about Rocket League?
Good guess, but no. Gearbox showed off Borderlands 3 to the public, and we got a lot to dig into. We got some spicy drama.
Absolutely. On top of that, we got Randy Pitchford, who's fighting with people on Twitter. That's always fun. So all is right with the world, yo.
God, I love you, Randy. He apparently got real snippy about being called out over microtransactions and managed to start a weird and huge conversation about the semantics of that word in the process.
At the big stage demo, Pitchford gave a rah-rah speech about how Borderlands 3 won't have any microtransactions. The audience all ate it up because, yes, that's what you do. That's the positive thing that you say to get the audience all happy.
It's like a page out of CD Projekt Red's PR manual.
But hey, good thing they're not putting them in the game, right?
Well, that's the weird thing, because Borderlands 3 actually will have microtransactions, just for cosmetics only, though there are actually also paid boosts that affect gameplay too, which makes this whole conversation really messy.
Okay, let's go ahead and prod through some of this. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, first of all, some Gearbox developers immediately did damage control after Pitchford's statement, and they attempted to explain the context of what he was saying. Producer Chris Brock told GamesIndustry.biz, when we say no microtransactions, what we're really trying to say is that we're not trying to nickel and dime people. We'll probably make content after launch that we will sell, but we also don't intend to take what Borderlands was and then chop it up into chunks and sell it.
Totally get it. That's fine. I mean, we had a thing for years called DLC. Every game before it had it, and then I guess it turned into microtransactions. I don't know. Do you still call DLC? What is it?
Downloadable content? I don't know, man.
I don't know. But the story did not end there. Some media outlets later implied that Pitchford hadn't exactly been truthful about the issue.
Yeah, because he kind of wasn't. I don't know, man. Specifically, Game Informer ran a headline that said, despite his quote, no microtransactions pledge, that actually wasn't the case.
And did Randy Pitchford fight back with a series of really nice tweets? We wish. That's like asking Borderlands 3 if they like cell shading and dubstep and memes.
See, memes have updated now. The Calypso twins are influencers.
We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, so Pitchford accused Game Informer of writing shitty clickbait, and he tried to clarify, saying that he was actually, quote, talking about premium currency and loot boxes not being in the game.
Okay.
But he didn't say that. Right. He said microtransactions.
He went on to say that there will be tons of free cosmetic drops in Borderlands 3, fantastic, adding, currently there are no plans for any cosmetic DLC, but I anticipate there will be customer demand post-launch that we will be excited to meet, just as we did with additional optional cosmetic DLC for Borderlands 2.
Yeah, and to add further insult to injury, Pitchford then made them watch a 20-minute card trick. I was transfixed, all right?
Brian, did he actually do a card trick?
Not this time.
Oh, okay.
1, 2. He told her it was a high number.
Depending on what day of the week it was, he maybe did make someone watch him do a card trick for 20 minutes. We don't know.
In his magical mystery basement?
Well, with all this back and forth of what is premium and what's not, I'm getting kind of lost in the semantics. Help me out here, Brian.
So he's sort of making a semantic argument, basically saying there's a difference between cosmetics versus pay-to-win microtransactions. Your Overwatch versus Battlefront 2 argument.
To be honest, we kind of get where he's coming from here. Some amount of post-launch monetization is mandatory in basically every AAA game that launches now. We just assume it's gonna be there. So instead of just calling everything microtransactions, we typically associate the big M word to only bad monetizations, instances where the game is designed to push you into purchasing coins or crystals or whatever the hell.
Locking you out of stuff, that sort of thing, absolutely. So Borderlands 3 will have the good kind of monetization, cosmetics that don't affect gameplay and are only there for the people that want them. Also, it's a co-op game. If there's a versus mode, that's where it gets a little dicey.
I don't want my friend to kill things faster than I do.
Right, it's sort of weird when there's pay to win in a single player co-op sort of experience.
I guess the fear would be like, you got an epic gun, cool. Oh, it's got a trigger lock on it. You gotta buy a special Torg trigger lock key to unlock that gun, and it's just sitting in your inventory.
Don't give them ideas, dude, Jesus.
They won't.
I guarantee you they've already thought of it.
Oh no.
And somebody at that board meeting was like, please don't do that. Like we said, Borderlands 2 worked exactly this way. You could buy cosmetics and paid DLC, although barely anyone remembers those. I've actually had people call me out and say, no, Borderlands 2 had none of it. And it did, it was there, just nobody cared.
It just came out much later after like the, fifth character came out? So it could be a situation where they're doing pretty much the same thing they did with Borderlands 2, which is a win. Only though in 2019, we're a lot more touchy on the big all M word.
Yeah, except there is a situation where you can pay more money to affect gameplay. But it's also kind of like Borderlands 2. So Borderlands 3 also has multiple special editions, and starting with the $80 deluxe version, you get something called, quote, XP and loot drop boost mods.
Oh boy, tell us more about that, Brian.
Yeah, so publisher 2K told PC Gamer that the boosts will both be level capped and tied to specific pieces of gear, similar to boosts in past Borderlands games. They added that the intent is to give those players an initial boost, but not something that permeates the entire Borderlands 3 experience indefinitely.
Also, again, similar to what they did in Borderlands 2. If you pre-ordered the game or bought the Necromancer pack, you got something called the Vault Hunter's Relic, which boosted your chance of finding rare loot by 15%.
The effect was ultimately pretty negligible, and it sounds like a similar story in Borderlands 3, so.
Yeah, I remember getting that item, and I used it at the beginning, but once you get a decent set of gear, rare drops don't really matter anymore. Your mod slot was better used for things that boosted ability damage or just gun damage in general.
So it's all weird that no one's being 100% explicit about what will or won't be available to buy, though the game is coming out in September, so we're just, I guess maybe they don't really know. No one wants to say something definitively at this point, only to have their plans changed later. I think right now they're just trying to get people excited about the game. It's been, whatever, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And you got a new Borderlands, so hey, let's all just be happy about that.
And I kind of get where Pitchford's coming from too. He had this huge reveal, everyone's super jazzed, and here's Game Informer coming along with their shitty shit. He's got to spend another evening with his iPhone and a bottle of whiskey.
I've all been there. Regardless, to sum it all up, Borderlands 3 will have microtransactions of some kind, but they promise it won't be the bad kind. Basically like Borderlands 2, and everyone seemed okay with that, so if you're okay back then, you should be okay now.
With all that out of the way, let's talk about the actual game!
Whoa, finally!
Yeah, they showed it, yeah. So it's safe to say that Borderlands 3 is one of the most anticipated games of the year so far. The original helped invent the looter-shooter genre, and fans have been waiting for years for the next proper game in the franchise.
Tell us more about the release dates and all the fun stuff, Brian.
So it releases on September 14th, but Gearbox gave us a look at some of the gameplay, the characters, and the many weapons you'll have to choose from. Definitely seems like the philosophy behind Borderlands 3 is bigger is better.
We all said that.
So boss designer Matt Cox said that while there are lots of other looter shooters out there nowadays, he said the best decision we made is to remain Borderlands and double down on the things we do so well. I think people are ready for more Borderlands, but bigger and better. Sticking to our guns is the best strategy.
Hey.
They showed gameplay, which honestly is what I've been waiting for to get really excited. And it totally backs all that up. If you like the Borderlands games, it's a safe bet you'll probably like Borderlands 3. It's got that cheeky humor, it's got weird guns, it's good, you know. But it looks all punched up. Like it actually looks like a modern game, which is something I didn't really get from the previous releases.
Oh sure, a lot of things have changed in the many years I've been playing games. We got sliding now, we got mantling, we got cool reload animations, we got always online functionality, though I believe they said that the game's gonna be able to be played offline, so fantastic.
So there's lots more guns, some even have legs now. There's more abilities, more vehicles, and you can fly your ship to different planets now.
Holy crap.
That's neat.
We're finally off Pandora. Eat my ass, James Cameron.
The new bad guys, as we mentioned previously, the duo called the Calypso Twins are modeled after streamers and influencers.
Oh, wow.
Going deep on that, huh, Gearbox?
Yeah, the pair are called Troy and Tyrene Calypso. Bitchford called them the douchiest streamers you can imagine. Call a spade, no lack of subtlety there, but hey.
Right. And they've got a cult of psychos and bandits called the Children of the Vault who basically do whatever the twins tell them to. So basically like PewDiePie fans. Whammo!
Man, they sure hate people who play their video games.
Hack a printer, tell people to subscribe to us.
As for the gameplay, they've made some subtle adjustments that will improve your quality of life, like the ability to slide and mantle over ledges. So like you're saying, they've now brought Borderlands into the modern age of 2019 where every other game does that.
Yeah. Some guns also have an alt fire mode, letting them do different things like fire tracking rounds, which should help your normal bullets hit home. Maybe somebody's not so good at aiming, but they want to play too. Usually melee classes are reserved for that, just run up and hit. But if you can't aim or maybe you're not so good at a controller, now you got homing bullets. You can play with everybody.
Titanfall did it first, I'm sure 10 other games did it before that too, but probably like Turok 2 or anything. Anyway, the skill trees have been expanded as well, and each class will be able to swap between 3 different action skills after hitting level 3.
Interestingly, one character, Zane the Operative, will be able to have 2 action skills at once, setting him apart from all the others. Every class has their own little thing going on.
Yeah, they showed off the Siren Amara, who had a variety of abilities, like an AoE attack called Phase Slam, as well as the ability to send an astral projection of herself to deal damage. She also has a move called the Phase Grasp that lets you lift up bad guys and hold them in place.
Sounds actually super useful for hard fights. It's all about like removing difficult enemies or cutting down the amount of enemies who are shooting at you once.
Phase choke me, daddy.
Oh boy, there's already fan art of that. Find it, Autumn. You have to now. Of course, co-op is a big deal in Borderlands, it's what the game's all about, and they're introducing something called loot instancing, which means that if you play with somebody of a lower level, you'll each get loot that's around your own personal level, which is fantastic. There's also level balancing, which scales down a higher level character to match their noob counterpart, which is also fantastic. As somebody who like tried to get a permagroup going in every Borderlands game, I'd always have a friend who I just convinced to buy it and a friend who had been playing it for 200 hours, and we could never play together. It was always just me running behind the max level dude who just wasted everything, and he'd be like, "Isn't this fun?" And I'd just be out of breath with like a big backpack on and sweating and panting and throwing up. Didn't feel good.
But what if Lawrence's extreme text messaging puts me off? Brian, can I just play by myself, please?
If you don't want to do any of that, you can always play in good old classic mode and let your high-level buddies just carry you through the whole thing.
Oh, fantastic. How's the campaign looking?
It's going to be a little bit different. You'll be able to go to other places than Pandora or its moon. There's going to be a hub area, but this time it'll be a spaceship called the Sanctuary 3, and you will use it to go to other worlds.
Like Mario Odyssey, except
Exactly.
edgy.
More hats.
PC Gamer quoted Borderlands 3 creative director Paul Sage, who said the campaign will take around 30 hours if you do not do side quests.
Specifically, he said, quote, if you beeline it through, and I mean beelining it through, it might take you 30 hours to complete the main story.
We actually got to look at that little gun with legs, so I mean that really should have probably been the headline of this story.
Gun's got legs now.
I don't know. We got to do that clickbait stuff. Sorry, Randy.
The gun is a TDR? Somebody's gonna call me out in the comments again. It's a TDR weapon is one of the manufacturers of the game. The guns do all kinds of crazy things. The one with the legs is called the Smart Gun XXL, and it runs around shooting things after you throw it.
Others will bounce around and act like grenades, and others will split out into rockets, because this game is all sorts of crazy.
Yeah, right.
So all in all, it's ridiculous and it's fun. It's exactly what you want from a Borderlands game, and if you don't, I am sorry.
The microtransactions, Randy!
I don't know.
How could you do this to us?
If you have any problems with us, just tweet Randy Pitchford, not me. Did you guys see the Facebook press conference where most of the updates in there were basically trying to get you to stop using Facebook? Autumn's about to quit Twitter.
Oh no! Where am I gonna see your porcelain horses?
You can come over to my house.
Goodbye, horses.
Do they all have names?
Yes, and they all have penises, big ones.
Are you a horse girl? You're into horses? Explains a lot.
It's weird in games like this.
I mean, it's okay though, because essentially you're not playing against each other, you're playing with each other.
Yeah.
So this probably isn't going to draw the backlash that games like Battlefront 2 did after it put pay-to-win mechanics in a multiplayer game.
Competitive.
Right. But we are seeing more and more AAA games put microtransactions that let you skip the grind. So speaking of which, Assassin's Creed Odyssey had optional XP boosters and upgrade materials.